the Pig and Pump. Now, obviously, many people still call this the White Swan, or locally the Mucky Duck. Yes. It's right across the road from the Crooked Spire, and it may in fact be where we get the name from. In the 12th century, an original version of the Crooked Spire was gifted to the town of Chesterfield by the Dean of Lincoln, a man named St. Hugh, a genuine patron saint with over 50 miracles to his name. He's the patron saint of shoemakers and poorly children, would you believe. He was the man who gifted the church and the land that it stands upon to the town. And his emblem at the time was a white swan, which may be where we get the name from. Now, there may have been a pub on this location, as early as the 14th century, but I'll come back to that in a minute. The earliest sort of paper records that we have are from 1839, when this, not this pub, but the one before it, a White Swan, an earlier version, was put up for sale in 1839. It had 6 cottages and enough stabling for 12 horses, and on top of that, it had its own brew house. It would have been an excellent investment, as in 1840, the London Midland Main Line Chesterfield station was opened, and many well-heeled businessmen would have ridden this far and stabled their horses at the White Swan and travelled on to London by train. In 1860, the landlord was a man named Brailsford. Now, Mr. Brailsford had a bit of a problem, women troubles, shall we say. There was a lady called Mrs. Garrett, and Mrs. Garrett was the wife of the Reverend Garrett. Therefore, she had a fair amount of sway with the various authorities. And she was under the impression that strumpets, ladies of the night, were operating at the White Swan and picking up trade, which she didn't like at all. And she had his license revoked for a full 12 months. Yes. Now, Brailsford died in 1883, and the property was purchased for £1,130 by a Mr. Simpson, who already owned the Bull's Head in the Shambles, which is opposite the Royal Oak. And I think he let his wife run the place. It was her, anyway, that 4 years later, she discovered a fire in one of the bedrooms. It had been started by a candle catching, a garment catching an open flame of a candle. It had been hung on a wardrobe and everything started to burn. But fortunately, the fire brigade turned up in good time, and the damage amounted to £15 worth. Let's see. In 1902, the old original White Swan was purchased by John Smiths of Tadcaster, and they promptly knocked it down. It was in such a state. This was partly to enable St Mary's Gate to be widened. It was only about 12 feet wide in places. They built what you see today, a magnificent 3-story, 4 stories if you count the cellar, with a function room on the first floor. All sorts of things have taken place there. In 1911, it was a boxing club with lessons in pugilism being offered by Professor Jack Dixon, a man with some obvious flair. It was also the location of Chesterfield Dance Studio. Mrs. Poppleton ran that from in the 1930s. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, the White Swan was known locally as a live music venue. Bands would play in the front room. And to top that off, if you like, you may have heard of a band called Pulp, yes. The Sheffield band Pulp. Well, they rehearsed and played here on a regular basis. In fact, one of their roadies, I know him reasonably well, he tells me that the song Common People was written and first performed in the White Swan. Ooh. It's one of those, isn't it? Let's see. So, during that golden period for the pub, it was 1975 when they're doing some archaeological work in all sorts of different places around the town, including in the backyard here, which is where they discovered a 14th century malting oven. Now, obviously, that's part of the brewing process. The first stage is to malt the barley, and so it seems to sort of indicate that they were at least brewing beer, if not selling it, in this location for best part of 1,000 years. So the more recent history, it starts in 1998 when the pub was made open plan for the first time, and it became known as the Avenue. The Avenue lasted just 6 years, 2004. It was a bit of a rough pub. It was known for fighting. And in 2004, it became a Chinese restaurant. Anybody remember that? Simply Chinese. And once that went away in 2012, it was converted back into a pub, renamed the White Swan. But then in 2016, it was renamed the Pig and Pump, which was to attract the eye to the real ale offerings and the sausage and mash on the menu. These days, it's probably well, it is unrivaled in its options for the real ale drinker, and the menu is absolutely excellent. But that is the White Swan for you. And have you done there?